green of the Thames Valley sits the synagogue of an English public school. A synagogue, not a chapel. For this school is Carmel College, a unique attempt to fuse and blend the English tradition with the Jewish faith.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai al Moshe b'har Sinai le'mo daber el bnei Yisrael v'anasa alehem titavo el haaretz asher ani nosen lachem v'shabbat haaretz Shabbos l'Adonai shesh shanim tizras adecha v'shesh shanim tizma karmecha v'yasafta et tevuasa.
After nearly 20 years, Carmel has become part of Anglo Jewry. In school holidays, the purple blazers dot the congregations of every synagogue in Britain. But to the 300 boys who live and work here, Carmel is not an important sociological venture, an exciting educational experiment. It's not a cultural investment by the Jewish community. It's just school.
And what about you? Finished it?
Yes,
And these? You haven't? And what have you got so far?
there's my question.
Not so good. You better have a look at it again. Oh, you're just doing the A, aren't you? Oh, well, that's... what are you doing? Are you testing for... Yes, well, that's right.
Yes.
Ellie.
D.
Yes.
And L-E-A-D. No, start with L-E-A-D. And the rest is L-E-D.
Now think again. Think again. Go.
Start driving with L-E-D.
It's getting better all the time. I used to get mad at my school. I can't complain. Teachers who taught me weren't cool. I can't complain. They're holding me down, turning me round, building me up with your rules. I've got to admit, it's getting better. It's a little better.
יום אחד נפלה פצצה על המנזר, והמנזר עלה באש. אסתר ועוד ילדים רבים עברו למנזר אחר. בכל ים הקצה אסתר לנזיר הגדול, אך הוא לא בא.
יום אחד נפלה פצצה על המנזר והמנזר עלה באש. מה זאת פצצה?
מתי פצצה נופלת, יש הרבה אש.
נכון, יש הרבה אש. ומה עוד יש? אש
האנשים צריך ללכת משם.
כן, האנשים צריכים ללכת משם, אבל יש אש גדולה וגם...
Well, we're discussing the possibility of a merger. Right? Who brought up the question of a merger in the first place? You did. Tell us exactly how you plan to do this merger.
This vacuum forming company we're considering has practically no assets at all, but has high profit. If it merges with a vacuum forming company which does not have a higher profit, but has a greater amount of assets, this merger could be used to subsidize the development company, which is part of the second vacuum forming company.
Yes. To subsidize the development company and to carry the liabilities. Yes.
But doesn't that automatically mean that your development company is going to become subsidiary to this other company as well? Which means that you virtually sold your development.
Yes, it depends how the merger goes.
Gould.
Rabbi Tannavarech. He Shema Adonai Mevarach Mitzad Yad Elam. Bereshut Rabbi Tannavarech Eloheinu Shacham Mishalach. Colhenu Sahalim is Slaughter for Hayin about over Oxamo.
Headmaster, what exactly are the aims of Carmel College?
Clearly to give a boy the benefit of a Jewish education and at the same time give him a first-class general education in the hope that he will learn to apply these two aspects of education throughout his life.
But in English terms, how traditional would you say the school is in comparison with other public schools?
We've been very selective in our attitudes towards public school traditions. Some we reject out of hand completely. For example, we reject completely the idea that prefects will have the right to insist that another boy will carry out a task for the prefect personally. There's no fagging in the school. The prefects have very few privileges and a considerable burden of service. One of the distinguishing features of the school is indeed the relationship between the senior and junior boys. The attitude that the senior boys adopt is that their function is to help the junior boys, possibly by indicating to them courses of discipline, but essentially to help them with their personal problems, to help them overcome their school problems. And these are burdens that the senior boys carry with great conscientiousness and very successfully. It makes indeed for a happy school. And I don't believe that any boy can be successful in his work or his play unless he is happy.
Headmaster, at Carmel, as at all English public schools, the pupils select themselves because of their father's wealth. Isn't this unhealthy?
It would indeed be unhealthy if it were true. It isn't, of course, true. Some 20% of the boys in the school pay either no fees or very greatly reduced fees. We hold annual scholarship examinations, and our aim, though we can't possibly always achieve this aim, our aim is that no able but poor boy should be turned away. This is one of the great headaches of the school, to obtain sufficient funds to endow scholarships, so that these poor boys can have the benefit of an education at Carmel.
So Carmel, then, is not just a bastion of privilege?
No, I don't think so. And one of the interesting things about the school is, of course, the difficulty which boys or anyone else would have in distinguishing boys from wealthy homes or from extremely poor homes. The school, in fact, covers the complete range of the community from every point of view, whether it is from the economic point of view. As I say, we have boys from very wealthy homes and 20% from pretty poor homes. Geographically, the school has boys from 22 different countries, though these boys cover no more than 10, perhaps 12.5% of the school. Religiously, we have a quarter of the boys come from possibly very orthodox homes. Another quarter of the boys come from homes where they have had absolutely no contact with Judaism at all, and the rest, the usual range, anywhere in between.
How successful is the school in achieving its aim?
Really, of course, it's very difficult to assess a school's achievements. One can take them purely from the academic point of view, and there, I suppose, we have good reason to be satisfied. Over the last 2 or 3 years, something like an average of 75 to 85% of all boys leaving the school have gone on to universities. This is indeed pleasing, but the success of a school from the point of view of its Jewish education, from the point of view of the achieving of a maximum potential with every boy, this, I believe, is where Carmel really scores. We've been very fortunate in this respect. The staff, the boys, have adopted the attitude which allows us to achieve success from the point of view of sports, of academic achievement. From the point of view of Jewish life, it's going to take, as Rabbi Rosen once said, something like 15 to 20 years more before one can assess the effects of the Jewish life upon a boy. But above all, what we are concerned with is this. We realize that with boys coming to Carmel from every possible kind of background, many boys coming from non-Orthodox backgrounds will possibly remain non-Orthodox when they leave the school, but at least they will know, they will understand what their Judaism means to them, they will have lived it for a number of years. We hope that they will cherish it and treasure it and continue to observe it, though we realize, of course, this will not always be the case. But at least if a boy does reject it, at least his rejection will be an informed rejection, and we believe that he will continue to have a love of his Jewish life even after he leaves the school.
Keep the stern up. It's third stroke, south side coming under. 1, 2, 3, up. Hold it there. 1,
2, 3, down. Walker onto the wooden landing stage. Reach out. Together. Slow slide. Up front. 1 foot in. Together. Come through. 1 foot out. Push up. Together.
fare out.
Meno.
Right, settle down now, please. Books away.
We shall then carry on with questions. Gentlemen, Mrs. Williams.
Well, Mr. Chair and gentlemen, it's a funny sort of night to be coming down to talk to you because I'm quite sure that you've got things on your minds quite other than the policies of the British government. And perhaps I will only just say a word or two about what I'm sure you have got on your mind. I don't think I need to say that this last 3 days has been an astonishing 3 days in the world's history by any possible standard. And that probably men like yourselves should now be turning their minds to what happens after the war is over, because I think it will be over probably quite soon. And to the question of whether or how some form of arrangement or plan or settlement can be reached in the Middle East, which will make it the case that Israel doesn't have to keep flexing her muscles from time to time to show her right to exist.
Well, I think that a school like this serves a special purpose, and that we know already that communities such as this, the Jewish community and other minority groups, will stick together anyway, whatever happens. And therefore, you need to provide leaders for such a community, people who can carry on both cultures together. But in the end, when it comes down to it, you still need a school like this. Because one fault of the Jewish community is all over the world is that they've split up into the isolationists, the people who dedicate their lives completely to their religion and have nothing to do with the outside world, and the assimilationists, these people who completely assimilate their ways and go over to the other side. There have been very few people who have been combining both cultures.
There's nothing common, you know,
the idea of Carmel is to combine both cultures and to have these two cultures mixed in one person.
Yeah, but I don't think that Carmel College was only made just for the material benefits of the community.
Not more than material benefits, any benefits whatsoever.
Spiritual benefits that the community gains from having...
By the fact that you know that you're a Jew.
Yes,
but you've got to take constructive part in Judaism. You just can't think like, well, I'm a Jew, I realise this. You've got to go out and make your presence felt. You've got to see what is corrupt and want to put it right.
Speaking as a non-Jew again, I feel when the school was initially established, the idea was to provide a religious life, a strict religious life that people hadn't had before. Now this was 20 years ago. Now the school has grown, and we've established this. Yes, now it's time to go further and to instill more into pupils. And whether this is being done or not, I don't know. I don't think it is at present. But this is something that must come.
To instill more? National heritage or what?
Well, I think certain parts of a normal public school life that aren't present in the school at the moment, possibly because it's too young. And this is something that also lends from tradition.
Well, I think the Carmel benefits from lacking these usual aspects of the public school. In fact, it's a far better place without it.
Yes, you're not thinking of the inhibition of such things as flogging and this sort of thing.
No, of course not. Not at all. I think Carmel's got an individual personalities specifically suited to a specific task, which is accomplishing pretty well at present.
However well Carmel does its job, the standards by which it's judged are those of its founder, who is buried here in a corner of the school grounds. For Carmel College is very much one man's dream, the creation of a great educational institution to serve the needs of the Anglo-Jewish community, the dream of Rabbi Koppel Rosen.
We feel that a Jewish boy born in this country is the heir to two great cultures, the culture of the land in which he lives, and also the older Hebraic culture from the days of the prophets. And if one can instill a love of both cultures into a boy, we feel that is a remarkably enriching experience.
But what of Carmel's setting? Carmel, like every other English public school, is, more or less, a charity. If the school is to retain and improve its position among the great schools of the country, it needs to complete its building scheme and increase its scholarships. In the last 5 years, Carmel has built much. Munchville Park has been transformed into Carmel College. But if boys are not to be turned away, more buildings will be needed. And if more boys from the community's poorer homes are to come to Carmel, the £15,000 spent annually on scholarships will also have to be increased. Carmel is a charity, but it's a charity with a difference. Anglo Jewry must regard Carmel as an investment in its own future.
We mustn't lose sight of the fact that the senior boys are an important part almost of our teaching system. But they have to do a great deal of the teaching through their own experience. And if we are successful in all the talk we have about our two cultures, and if we are successful in showing the boys exactly what we mean by applying Jewish laws to their living experience, if we are to be successful, then we must use the senior boys to help us in all that we try and do. We can't do it on our own. No staff anywhere can do it on its own. We must have the help of the boys as well as the help of the parents.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it will almost certainly work out that way. And I think that our task will probably be easier because we shall have the junior boys concentrated in very excellent surroundings, and that under the supervision of their own prefects, and under, of course, the overall supervision of the masters, that we shall be able to do very much more for them. So that consequently...
Adonai Tzvaot imanu miskavlando leheakavsela. Adonai Tzvaot asher amatech bach. Adonai Hoshia hamelach yaneinu yom kareinu. Laihudim haitorah v'simcha v'sason yikar kein tielanu. Kos Yeshua tesah v'shem Adonai kras avri chavrai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'yifri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bori minehi v'samim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei morei ha'ir. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh l'cho v'no l'choshech ben Yisrael la'amim ben yom hashvi l'sheshet yemei ha'maaseh. Baruch atah Adonai hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol.